it up over here. And all right, thank you. I'm just gonna leave this on.
Well, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to Gratz Park and to the 200th anniversary of General Lafayette's arrival in Lexington exactly 200 years ago this afternoon at this location. We live in Fayette County, Kentucky, so named for him in 1780 by the Virginia legislature. He was a hero of the American Revolutionary War, a personal confidant of General Washington, for whom he named his only son, George Washington Lafayette, and a great American hero who at the age of 19 left everything behind in France to come to fight for the dream of American independence. So it's entirely fitting and appropriate today that we recognize this great American hero who, when he came to Lexington, was the last surviving Major General of the Revolutionary War. And thanks to the good services of Betty Kerr in the office of our local government, she has designed and created this wonderful memorial to him, which will preserve his memory and his legacy to the good citizens of Lexington for many generations to come. Betty, would you come forward, please?
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. You were just hearing from Dale Henley, who has been supremely incremental into making all of the events happening about Lafayette here in our community today and tonight, and honoring him not only today but for the long term in terms of all the education things and so forth that he has been working toward. So thank you, Dale, for all you have done. Tremendous amount of work, and it's much appreciated. I am the Historic Preservation Officer for the City of Lexington, and I'd also like to recognize that Kip Cornett is here, who is the co-chair of our Lex 250 celebration. Of course, we're not only celebrating Lafayette's 200th anniversary of his visit, but we're also celebrating Lexington's 250th birthday this year, and pleased to have this event be part of that bigger celebration that is going on year long. So thank you very much to Kip too and his committee. I also would like to thank AdColor. Stefan, where are you? AdColor Graphics and Design have been hugely instrumental and supportive in this sign that we have just completed that speaks about Lafayette's visit to Lexington in 1825, and we are so appreciative of all your support and good work on this project, and thank you and your team very much. We are so blessed to have a lot of people in our community that care about our community and care about our stories and our history, and General Lafayette is, of course, a big part of that. And when he arrived here in Gratz Park at the morning after he had been out at Keene Place the night before, coming from Versailles and all, first event he attended was, as Dale referenced, here in the park. Transylvania University, as you know, was headquartered here in this rectangle that was not an open park at the time. It had a very large 3-story building. It's depicted on this interpretive sign, and it was the everything of Transylvania's campus at that time. Beautiful big building with a cupola, et cetera, et cetera. So General Lafayette, when he arrived here, was met by a crowd of thousands of people and spoke here, and then visited at the Gratz house just across the street. A member of the Gratz family, it was the widow of a officer that he had served with who became a former a governor of Kentucky during his career and so forth. And then Lafayette continued on through the day and into the night to go to several other locations in Lexington, also made personal calls on a couple of people, Mrs. Henry Clay, and Clay was out of town. But he was a busy man, and he covered a tremendous amount of territory. His travels for this 1824-1825 visit to America, he was referred to as the nation's guest. And he was welcomed abundantly and warmly all over our country. There were 24 states at the time, and he hit all 24 of them before he went back to France some 13 months later. But I think he must have had not only great valor and stamina and commitment during the Revolutionary War, He also had great stamina and valor when he was covering 24 states in 13 months in the United States. When you consider traveling by carriage and boat, and even at one point the boat he was on sank, um, and and really just an amazing visit. So I will say no more because we are visited today by General Lafayette. So General, if you would step forward and welcome our visitors, they would love to see you.
Merci, Madame. As many of you will know, education of our young people I have always held in great esteem, and I find it to be the cornerstone of freedom and democracy and liberty. And so it is with the most lively and reciprocal feelings I receive your phonic congratulations on my reaching this beautiful part of this country, on my entering this interesting place where I have been so honorably invited, where I am so affectionately welcomed by the people and addressed by the president of this university in so very gratifying terms, and where I have to witness the wonders of creation and improvement that are the most unanswerable practical argument in favor of Republican institutions. I entreat you, Monsieur le Président, to accept my respectful and affectionate acknowledgments to you and to the citizens of Kentucky. It is with the utmost gratification and gratitude that I have been honored to receive the entertainments here at Lexington, which have been extremely brilliant. But all of the proofs of public felicity which have most attracted my attention have been the development and rapid progress of instruction among all classes of people. In fact, it is not an admirable and astonishing, is it not an admirable and astonishing circumstance to find in a country which not 40 years ago was covered with immense forests, a handsome town of 6,000 inhabitants and containing 2 establishments for public instruction, which by the number of their pupils and the variety and nature of the branches taught may rival the most celebrated colleges and universities in the principal towns of Europe? Indeed, Transylvania University is the first institution of college rank west of the Alleghenies, and Colonel Josiah Dunham's Female Academy enjoys a well-merited reputation. On the latter institution, from so many and touching proofs of esteem and veneration for my character, I experience feelings it is impossible for me to adequately express. Surrounded and caressed by these tender and innocent creatures, I must abandon myself to those sweet emotions into which, in spite of my age, my heart has not become insensible, and I cannot avoid repeating how much I feel at my happiness in having combated during my youth for a people whose descendants testify such affection for me, and the profound knowledge even the youngest of the children appear to possess of every action of my life penetrate me with the liveliest gratitude. While I have, with utmost gratitude, enjoyed the kind welcome bestowed upon me by the people of Kentucky and their chief magistrate, and on this happy day by the citizens of this town and county, I have the highest and most grateful sense of the honor I now receive from the University of the state and its respected President Hawley. I could not, in so eloquent terms as you have done it, sir, express the patriotic and enlightened observations, the fond anticipations which have been presented by you, but with them I cordially sympathize, never more so than when you speak of that constitutional union between the several parts of the Confederacy, so necessary not only to these states, but to the welfare of mankind, and which has been the last farewell recommendation from our great and good Washington to the American people. To your so interesting remarks, Monsieur le Président, on the diffusion of light to the Western states, I will add that already the Western states of the American constellation have shone with splendid luster in national councils. South America and Mexico will never forget that the first voice heard in Congress for the recognition of their independence was a Kentuckian voice. Nor can they anymore forget that to the wide and spirited declarations of government of the United States, they have been indebted for the disappointment of hostile projects and for a speedier recognition by European powers. I will not expiate on your allusions to several parts of the French history to which you would trespass on your time, further than to thank you, sir, for having noticed the day when the Parisian National Guards had the honor at the same time to suppress a counter-revolutionary effort against the sovereignty of the people and the rights of man, and in a great measure to defeat the partial and most heinous attempt which on that day threatened to sully the cause of liberty in France. Permit me also, monsieur, to acknowledge the personal testimonies of esteem and friendship you have been pleased to confer upon me, and to offer the expression of my respectful gratitude to you and to the University of Kentucky. To Colonel Dunham, principal of the Female Academy, I want words to express to you how much I am delighted with your kind welcome and the amiable testimonies of your kindness. To the friend of your forefathers, they will never be erased from my heart. They will be daily shared by my family at Lagrange. Well may this heart, old but warm in its feelings, palpitate at the sound of your patriotic and affectionate accents. Amidst the eminent testimonies of the national blessings and accomplished improvements which are to be admired on this beautiful and happy spot, no instance of them can be more gratifying to the eye and to the heart than to be introduced to the Female Academy, where you have been pleased to welcome me in terms which claim my liveliest gratitude. Your observations are so correct with respect to the happy results of your Republican liberty, and so flattering in the expression of your kindness to me, that I shall only add the tribute of my sympathies in the former part of them of my acknowledgments for those that are personal still more feelingly on account of your affecting family allusions and my grateful sense of the honor now conferred upon me by the association of my name with the so very interesting Academy. I beg your charming committee, your instructors, and all of you young ladies to accept my tender acknowledgments. You have authorized me to add my paternal feelings. And I thank all of you gathered here today to commemorate my visiting of this city 200 years ago today, for having come to witness the unveiling of this marvelous monument that will serve as a permanent indicator of the historic actions that took place on this spot 200 years ago. Merci.
Merci, messieurs. Last summer, I had the opportunity to travel to certain places in France which were extremely important to General Lafayette in his lifetime. This wonderful tour was organized by Sabine Sablonier, who is the 7th great-granddaughter of General Lafayette. On the last day of the tour, I was bold enough to suggest to her that we hope to have this very day, May the 16th, 2025, on which we would commemorate the 200th anniversary of her ancestors' visit to Lexington. At that time, in a cab, on a street in Paris, she said, "I will do my very best to be with you." Ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very happy and proud. Sabine Sablonier, who is accompanied by her niece, Singeline de Grisey, the 7th great-granddaughter of Lafayette, who will share a few words with her before she unveils this wonderful historic marker. Sabine?
Well, as Dale say, I am the I should say 7 times great daughter of Lafayette. But I'm very proud to be a descendant of Lafayette's. But Lafayette doesn't belong to a family anymore. Lafayette belongs to humanity. And I think that the values he embodies That means courage, love for freedom and habeas corpus, and a sense of adventure are very up to date today. And I think we have to continue to maintain these values, which are very important for our world to be better. So I'm very glad to be here with you today, and I'd like to thank all the persons who organized this event. I am thinking of Betty Kerr, as far as I understood. And well, it's very moving for me to imagine that 200 years ago, Lafayette was here, and there were thousands and thousands of people who were there. You are a little bit few, but but the memory is still here, and we have to maintain it because the links between France and the United States of America are very, very important. So I'm very happy that today we are going to see this monument and that it will stay here for many, many years. Okay, thank you very much.
Are we ready? Yes.
And I would invite Lafayette to join.
Okay, I'll put this right
In
here.
the unveiling. So if you all will go around to the front and untie the white ribbon, white bow, I will undo this back, and then the three of you just lift up the sheet.
The moment has arrived. Beautiful. Yes. Magnificent. Thank you. Magnificent.
To ask the media if they had any questions. Well, one thing we did is
Betty, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you very, very much from my Sons of the American Revolution chapter here, the Lafayette chapter. Thank you all very, very much. At this time, we can entertain questions from the media, and you do have Sabine here his 7th grade granddaughter, so this is your opportunity. Questions from the media for her? Questions? We don't know. Any questions? Any questions at all? No? Okay, we're good. Thank you all very, very much for coming this afternoon, and we will see many of you this evening at the Lafayette dinner at the Embassy Suites beginning at 5:30. Thank you.